Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Reports conflict on Cowboys' trade interest in star Davante Adams. If the Cowboys want to address holes in the current roster, there is no shortage of areas for the team to address. The defensive line has been trouble, the linebackers need depth, the defensive backfield has been hit with injuries, and the running backs are ranked as the worst in the NFL. Take your pick of issues. But the team does have a star wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, who is off to a slow start after having held out for a new contract for nearly all of the offseason. Lamb did sign, has begun to play better and is one of the top 3 receivers in the game when he is at his best. Still, with star Raiders receiver Davante Adams on the trade block, speculation about the possibility of a Cowboys deal to acquire him has been running active. The Raiders want a second-round pick for Adams, with additional compensation, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. The Cowboys could make that happen, especially with a deal that would send out the pick with quarterback Trey Lance, who would satisfy the Raiders' need for a developmental quarterback on the roster. Alas, there are sharply conflicting reports on the Cowboys' interest in such a deal. According to Diana Rossini of The Athletic, the Cowboys are monitoring the Adams situation. The Jets and Cowboys are among the many teams monitoring the Davante Adams situation, Rossini tweeted on October 1. Both have checked in with the Raiders. I'm told at this point that Vegas is in no rush to make a move until a team reaches their asking price, but Adams wants out ASAP. That makes sense. Adams is a 3-time All-Pro receiver who has probably already punched his ticket to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He is 31 and desperately wants to play in a Super Bowl, which he has not done in his distinguished career. Of course, the Cowboys are monitoring the situation. Every team in the league is monitoring it. If the asking price for Adams were to drop to, say, a 4th-round pick, just about every team in the league would be lined up to acquire him. The Dallas Morning News has a conflicting report suggesting that there is no chance that Adams lands in Dallas. The Morning News' David Moore wrote, "It should be clear by now that any star player who wants a trade or hits the free agent market will inevitably be tied to the Cowboys. Jerry Jones wouldn't have it any other way. It's on brand." But precious few of these speculative pairings come to fruition. Adams is simply the latest player to have his name bandied about when it comes to the Cowboys. Don't bandy. The club has no intention of taking part in the Adams sweepstakes, a person with knowledge of the Cowboys' thinking told the Dallas Morning News. For his part, Adams appears to want a reunion with one of his 2 former quarterbacks, Derek Carr, whom he played with in Las Vegas, and in college at Fresno State, of the Saints, or ex-Packers star Aaron Rodgers, now with the Jets. According to a report from ESPN, 2 NFL teams high on Davante Adams' wish list of places to land if he's traded, if not at the very top, are the New York Jets and New Orleans Saints, league sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter on Wednesday. Players Steelers must game plan against in Week 5 primetime matchup versus Cowboys. Following a tough Week 4 loss to the Indianapolis Colts, the Steelers are eager to bounce back in their upcoming Sunday night matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys, while not as dominant as in recent seasons, are dealing with key injuries to players like Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Brandon Cooks. Despite those setbacks, the Cowboys still have plenty of talent, making this primetime clash between 2 storied franchises a must-watch. The Steelers will need a solid game plan to handle what remains of Dallas' roster and get back on track. One of the league's top wide receivers is set to give the Steelers' defense a serious challenge. After Joey Porter Jr. struggled against Michael Pittman, the upcoming matchup with CeeDee Lamb is only going to be tougher. The Steelers desperately need Porter to rebound and prevent Lamb from taking over the game. Last week's performance by Porter and the defense was nothing short of embarrassing, and now, with the spotlight on them in a national game, it's time for them to prove why they're considered one of the NFL's elite defenses. Despite the criticism Dak Prescott often receives, he's still one of the top quarterbacks in the league. In fact, he'll be the most talented QB the Steelers have faced so far this season. After allowing a quarterback to carve them up last week, the Steelers can't afford to let it happen again. They struggled to consistently pressure Joe Flacco, and this defense's strength is their pass rush. To stop Dak, they need to dial up the pressure, make him uncomfortable, and create opportunities for turnovers. Over the course of his career, he's been one of the top guards in the league. While age may have caused a slight dip in his performance, he remains a cornerstone of the offensive line. Meanwhile, Cameron Hayward has had a fantastic start to the 2024 season, and watching these two veterans go head-to-head will make for an exciting matchup. With Brandon Cooks sidelined, the Cowboys are left without a reliable secondary threat at wide receiver behind CeeDee Lamb. This puts added pressure on Jake Ferguson, who will likely play a key role in the passing game. As one of the more promising young tight ends, Ferguson's ability to create mismatches will be crucial. Meanwhile, the Steelers' linebackers, coming off a subpar performance last week, will need to step up and contain him. Justin Fields needs to be extra cautious against a ball-hawking cornerback like Diggs, who's racked up 19 interceptions in his 5-year career. Fields has done well protecting the ball but can't afford to take chances around Diggs, who will likely be shadowing Pickens. While Pickens has won most of his matchups this season, he'll be even more critical with the passing game improving and other receivers not producing much. Expect him to be the go-to target, but he'll face a tough challenge with Diggs lurking. The best kicker in the league, with a range that makes no kickoff limits, is an underrated offensive weapon. Anything from midfield is within his reach, and the Steelers can't afford to give up field position to someone like him. Stephen Jones explains Cowboys' decision not to pursue Davante Adams. The Dallas Cowboys have faced a lot of heat regarding the additions to this year's roster. The fire has been stoked over the franchise not bringing in veteran running back Derrick Henry, who railroaded the team when the Ravens devoured the Cowboys a few weeks ago. Dallas has also received some criticism for not bringing in help to a receiver unit led by CeeDee Lamb. Lamb signed a massive deal just before the start of the season, making him the second highest-paid non-quarterback in the league. So when the news broke that Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams asked for a trade, many hoped Dallas could be a destination. However, the front office didn't get the memo. When speaking with the San Antonio Sports Star, Cowboys EVP Stephen Jones was asked about the possibility of adding Adams to the roster. "No. I don't think there is anything to that. We just signed our number one guy CeeDee Lamb and Adams is a number one receiver," Stephen Jones said, per John Machota of The Athletic. "When you have the challenges cap-wise that we have, that would be a long putt for us. With all the pie given out this season, the front office doesn't seem interested in whipping up another hot piece. 2 number one receivers on one team? Who needs or wants that? And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Davante Adams? Leave your opinion in the comments.